All right, we are here. Another drive. It's now the afternoon of Wednesday afternoon. Our Cyber CROs in a Cybertruck. And right now with Mike Doherty, who is the SVP Global Sales at Normalyze. Mike, welcome to the CRO Cybertruck.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is fun.
It's very different, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
It's you get lots of people staring and pointing. I had someone give me the finger yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a truck. I don't think it was my bad driving, but we've been having some fun. When was your first RSA, Mike? Tell us all about that.
My first RSA got to be 2005.
Wow.
2005, 2006, I think. Somewhere in that range. That's when I kind of got into sales, and I think we started coming up here then.
And who were you with at the time?
WebSense.
Oh, WebSense, yeah.
WebSense, yeah. It was times have changed. The notorious Gene Hodges used to be the king of RSA over at the St. Regis and his tequila shots.
Gene was an animal at times.
Yep.
He really was.
R.I.P.
Yeah. What a big loss. Yeah, I feel like RSA, the conference has changed a lot over the years, but this year there's a lot of optimism I'm feeling in the whole ecosystem right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's good. I think, people got a little bit over a lot of these events. And then I think with the break with COVID, I think people, started missing them again. So I think it's, there's a lot of good energy. The floor has been buzzing and a lot of good conversations. So it's, I think that little break in transmission for COVID has sort of reinvigorated RSA and a lot of the in-person conferences.
And if I am a CISO on the floor of RSA and I bump into the Normalyze team and I ask the question, what do you guys do? What do you want your team to say?
We help you answer a few questions, which is, what's my data? Where's my data? Who has access to it? What's the value of it? So, as companies are migrating to cloud and leaving on-prem, giving a holistic picture of where their data is, regardless if it's in the cloud, on premises, or in SaaS applications or data lakes, and giving a single pane of glass of your data.
Okay. So all data everywhere, understand it, have policy assigned to it, things like that.
That's correct.
Awesome. All right. And when you look at it this year and your plans for this year, Mike, for the team, would you prefer your team has more smaller deals, or fewer deals, but them be bigger?
Both.
No, you can't have both.
Look, we're with the small team, right? They're really focused on top of market. And we're leveraging, marketing, SDR functions and channel to help us get downstream, and get more velocity in the business. So, we're an early stage startup. Logos are super important, and getting that velocity run rate, provides a lot of predictability for the business quarter over quarter, month over month, which is really good. And, those large deals are great, but they can surprise you in a good way one quarter, and they could let you down, in a big way another quarter. So we're focused on both. The team is hyper focused on the top of market, and we're really working with channel partners, to help us get more of that run rate business and what I call 90 and 90, right? 90K deals in 90 days. So if we can open an opportunity and close it within the quarter, that's a golden goose for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. 1990. I love that. 90K deals in 90 days. And is that realistic in this current buying environment? It
is. Yeah. Again, you got to cast a wide net, right? And you got to find projects in flight, or, where there's a burning need where we can solve problems for customers. But, for highly regulated, we've done, a handful now in the last few quarters where we've opened them and closed them in the same quarter. One deal in Q4 for $240K with the fintech company. So, they're definitely out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's your land and expand motion once you get in there? Is that how it works, or do you find that it's one and done?
A little bit of both. Some customers might want to come in and just solve the problem for AWS, data security and visibility, and then expand to different SaaS applications, other clouds, data lakes on-prem. We're finding more sort of, buy what we have, but, we're continuing to grow and evolve the product to cover more platforms. And so naturally, as we support, different applications, and there's data in those applications, there's going to be growth potential within those accounts.
Yeah. One of the hot topics right now is pipeline generation. There's more optimism, but still many companies are thinking, how do we just get a little bit more pipe? Wish we had a little bit more pipe. As you look out 2 years, what do you think is going to be the state of pipeline generation in a couple of years' time?
Look, I think everyone's still figuring out, the Gen AI application towards pipeline development and how we can get, further breadth. I still think, I still believe in the SDR function. If nothing else, that's a launch pad for a lot of sales professionals. I'd imagine, a lot of the folks that you've had here, started as an SDR. I know I did. And so, getting in and being able to understand objection handling and putting in the hard yards early in a sales career,
Yeah.
That puts you into a corporate sales function, into closing quota carrying roles. And so I still believe in the SDR function. I do think we're going to get a lot more data fidelity through AI and, the Zoom infos of the world that can help, around prospecting efforts. But I hope that AI does not take over the SDR functions, because it's sort of a proving ground for sales professionals that I think is needed.
Well, somewhat related to that statement about whether AI will take over is, do you think cold calling is dead?
I don't think cold calling is dead. I think it's probably on life support to an extent, but we still get, good pipeline generation, and some folks still pick up the phone. So, I still think it's a necessary function of the job. And, I think when done well, and done professionally with a little bit of research on the front end of it, so where you're not just, cold calling, but you're warm calling, I think there's still a place for it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's a tough thing, because people have this mindset against it. And if you do anything in life, never mind something tough, like pick up the phone and try and talk to a stranger to convince them to meet with you. If you do that half-heartedly, you're never going to be that successful. And therefore, you'll probably tar it with the same brush as everything else that you've given up in your life. I remember, last year, there was a CISO, made a post on LinkedIn where he railed against all these cold calls he was getting, and how he couldn't believe how stupid it was that these people were calling him. And this SDR from Rapid7 dropped in the comments, and it was very simple.
Sure.
And he said, I booked 168 meetings last year, and 164 came from cold calls. I was like, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, some people, I get it. They don't like it or whatever, but don't speak for the human race, for goodness sake, when you say things work or don't work, or you don't like them or you do like them.
Well, look, man, everyone's got to start somewhere. And for SDRs that are normally on the front end of their sales journey, it teaches you resilience and persistence and figuring out how do you connect to someone over. It's not an easy job, right? And so I don't like when the disrespect gets thrown towards the sales profession in general. And I'm particularly sensitive towards SDRs, because that's where I cut my teeth, and they're just trying to, make a name for themselves and build a career. And,
Yeah.
like I said, it's, everyone starts somewhere, and, for SDRs normally, typically, that's the front end of their sales journey, and it builds a solid foundation to be out in the field.
Yeah, I always think to be as perfect as the security practitioners who are also wonderful in the first 2 years of the career.
For sure. Yeah, stumbling over themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Let's change up a little bit. We're going to play Sizzle or Fizzle.
Fizzle. All right.
Sizzle, is this thing going to be hot, continue to be hot, grow, and be awesome, or is it going to fizzle away into not very much very quickly?
Okay.
All right. First one is Sizzle or Fizzle, this Cybertruck.
Sizzle. This thing's kind of cool, man. I'm feeling this thing.
You are?
Yeah, it's spacious, nice.
It's
I don't know
got
what the
room,
trunk
right?
situation is. Yeah, well, I'm a big guy, so it's,
Yeah.
this is nice. First time in it, smooth ride, enjoy it. I go Sizzle.
Okay. Sizzle or Fizzle, Palo Alto's played to be the platform for cybersecurity.
Look, man, I'm almost 6 years CrowdStrike. It's still in my DNA. I'm gonna go Fizzle. I still have my loyalties.
Purely on loyalties and passion?
Well, it's in my DNA.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a couple of related questions then. Who is going to have the biggest valuation 5 years from now? Palo Alto or CrowdStrike?
CrowdStrike.
Why so sure? Except for the passion and the DNA and.
Yeah, I think they've just shown a consistent ability to execute. especially with acquisitions that they've been able to integrate and move into market. And a single unified platform. I think they haven't really Frankensteined it, and have stayed true to their mission from the early days. And so I'm still a believer.
Good.
In George and team.
Good. All right. Well, slightly different. Who's going to have the biggest valuation in 5 years? Palo Alto or Wiz?
Palo Alto.
Why so sure?
I don't know, man. Wiz's valuation keeps going up. I'm scratching my head a little bit, to be honest with you. But based on their revenues. But look, those guys have obviously done really special things, and it helps set market for other startups, and so I think it's great. But Palo Alto's shown a lot of resiliency over the years, and I'm going to go Palo Alto on that one. I think Wiz still has a lot to prove.
Yeah, they've also got a huge head start right now, which is not trivial to make up. And you talked about acquisitions that CrowdStrike have done. I mean, if you're going to get that far that quick and take $1 billion,
well, they just did 800 as well, didn't they?
What's that?
They just raised 800 not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
So 1.8 billion.
1.9, I think, is their
9
total.
months.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a big chunk to go spend.
Yeah.
There's some very early stage companies thinking, "Oh, come and get me.
Yeah.
What do you think is a bigger waste of money? Buying a Cybertruck or buying a booth at Black Hat?
I'm going to go booth on Black Hat. I'll go booth on Black Hat. I think, listen, it's good for visibility. We have a booth, obviously, as do most vendors, but, I think, you spend some time with tire kickers. I think being present at RSA, and to be able to go to, separate meetings or dinners or lunches or, whisper suites or whatever. There's a lot more value in those one-on-one conversations, but, it's one of those necessary things, and it does help evangelize your product and educate the market to what you're doing, particularly in the early stage startup space, which we're in.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt you, right? It's whether, if you got the funds to be able to do it, it's worthwhile doing.
For sure.
For many, it's a prioritization exercise they go through. Speaking of priorities, if you were to encourage an early stage or earlier sales rep in their career to get better and they're seeking advice, would you tell them really understand your product and what it does and the problems it solves, or really understand your prospects and their fears and frustrations and their challenges in day-to-day lives?
Understanding the prospects, right? Because in order to really articulate value, you need to be able to understand what customer pain points are. And so it's a little bit of both. Obviously, you need to know what you're doing. If you have a subject matter expert or an SE or someone more technical that you can rely on for the bits and bytes. But, I think a lot of sales reps ask a question with already a predefined response to whatever that answer is going to be. And so they're sort of passive listening instead of active listening. And because at the end of the day, they're trying to, whatever that response is going to be, they're going to shoehorn to say that my product solves your problem,
right?
Regardless of what the response is, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, in today's climate where, CISOs are being asked to do more with less or less with less, really understanding, pain points and value drivers, and actually listening to be able to articulate custom crafted responses to whatever the questions you're asking, whatever that pain is, I think will lead you into a more productive, dialogue, which, ultimately will help you build a champion and help uncover pain points where your project, may or may not solve. I think, sometimes no is okay, right? Like if your product doesn't solve a problem that the customer has, like that's going to come out in the wash in the first 5 minutes or in the first 5 months. But if it can be in the first 5 minutes, great. Let's disqualify as soon as possible and go on to the next one where you may have a more, burning need and active opportunity. And so I think that all comes down to, good discovery and really understanding, customer pain points and the value that you provide.
I was chatting to someone recently, and I think it was Bob Horan yesterday, and he said, I had the chance to talk to some CISOs, a group of CISOs recently, and he said, I asked the question, when was the last time a salesperson you chatted to said, I don't think we can help you? And there's silence in the room. It's like, really? Like everyone believes something that can help everyone? It's surely not, right? And I feel like, knowing now that we can't help them rather than knowing in 5 months of a sales cycle is a very different proposition.
Well, the best reps can disqualify as fast as they can qualify, right? Everyone's time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Time is one of our greatest currencies. And so if we can save my time and your time, because we understand that, hey, this dog isn't going to hunt, or, hey, we can actually, from what you're telling me, we can actually help you. Let's dig into these use cases and we'll map them to our capabilities, and, we can get a project going. Equally, if the timing's not right, let's shake hands and, maybe we reconnect in a few months and maybe the time will be more appropriate. I think, most reps now outside of these, big box shops have pretty big territories where you're spending your time is incredibly valuable. So being able to do the discovery to say, right, rather than, no, let's try to figure it out. Like, you're just going to end up, burning cycles on both sides. And what I've found is that customers usually appreciate it actually when you tell them, and the counterpoint, if you say, look, I don't know if we're the right fit for you right now. It doesn't sound like timing's right. But then they come back and say, actually, no, this is the right time. And let me explain to you why. Now they're, it's kind of that pendulum approach. Now they're leaning back into you and selling you on why they need your value proposition. And so, we always try to, disqualify opportunities early and figure out, whether there is something that we could drive forward in a measurable amount of time.
Speaking about time and using your time wisely, what's a bigger waste of time, sitting in San Francisco traffic in an afternoon like this, or following and reading all the sales advice on LinkedIn?
Sales advice on LinkedIn is a bigger waste of time. This is nice. Nice day out. We're chatting. Everyone's got something to say on LinkedIn, and you look at their profiles, and there's not many folks who have blown my hair back that are giving life and sales coaching advice. So, we'll leave the pontification for those that need the pats in the back and validation.
There's this guy who posts on LinkedIn called Andrew Monaghan. He does, I don't think you've heard about him. He does some good stuff. Is he someone you might pay attention to?
I like that guy. Yeah. Nah, that guy's fun. He's got some good quips. And, I think adding a little levity in what we do and tactfully,
poking the bear
a little bit and making fun of the things that we all talk about, over a drink, and to bring that to light is welcome. It's fun because, sometimes I think some of these folks take themselves a little too seriously.
Speaking about taking ourselves too seriously, this is the important question of the day. Consider it carefully. Do you believe that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will make it through the off season?
I'm going, yeah. Yeah.
You believe in love?
I believe in love, man. Listen, I got a 7-year-old girl at home, and Taylor Swift is omnipresent in the Doherty household. So I like Taylor Swift. I'm a Patriots guy. We beat up the Chiefs enough back in the Brady days. So I don't have any bad blood against the Kelces. I don't get any bad blood against Taylor Swift. Bless them. Yeah.
I'm an optimist. I hope it's true and long lasting and deep love. And, there's an album coming out next year in the back of it.
Yeah. Well, he could be in big trouble, knowing her history on writing, little redemption songs. So, best of luck to him for sure.
Well, listen, Mike, it's been a pleasure as always chatting to you. Cyber CROs and Cybertruck was a bit of fun, and I wish you guys and with the whole team, success for this year and beyond.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.